Adam, hello. Thank you so much for joining me from Los Angeles. How are you doing there? How is lockdown going?
It's getting long now. It's been a minute. I'm sure we all feel that way. But I feel like I went through stages on this thing, like a lot of my friends. You first are in disbelief and shock, and then there's sort of a grieving period. Obviously, we're all worried about friends and family immediate to us, and friends and family of our friends. And now I'm kind of getting to the stage where I'm finally getting quite productive, actually, and sort of trying to plot future. I think it can be very overwhelming, so it's good to keep yourself distracted with, like, progress.
Well, talking about being productive, Adam, you and Queen, of course, released the single You Are the Champions to raise money for all the healthcare frontline workers. Why was it so important for you all to do that?
I just put myself in the position of these brave, heroic individuals that are going out there fighting the good fight every day. And I wonder to myself what they might be thinking, and I think the sense of fear is probably real to them. The sense of overcoming this giant obstacle that is the virus is probably occupying their every thought. And then also, I think that they need to be appreciated. I think it's really important for us to say, thank you. We're there. We owe you big time. We know that we wouldn't get through this without you. And so Queen and I started talking, Queen and I, Brian and Roger and I, those of Queen, started talking to this Queen. And, Brian had been on a great streak of recording covers for his Instagram. And that's where the idea sparked. And he got in touch with us and said, let's do We Are the Champions. And we started thinking about who we would dedicate it to. And then we had this idea of, why don't we go as far as to change the title of the song? I think this situation warrants that type of iconic shift. And so that's what we did. And we recorded it separately in our houses on cell phones. And then after that came together and it was a success and fans started talking about it, we decided to take it one step further and create a montage video of all these healthcare workers all over the world, and to sell it as an official track. And all the funds that we raise for this track will go directly to the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund for the World Health Organization. Obviously, the World Health Organization has been integral to keeping everybody informed and safe and ahead of this thing.
And also, was there a more personal connection because Roger Taylor's daughter, I believe, is a doctor on the front line?
Absolutely. He and I discussed that, and we actually have a little clip of her in the video, which is really lovely. And yeah, so Roger's getting sort of a firsthand account of what's going on, and it's very scary, but we thought this would cheer people up a bit, and I hope it does.
Also, of course, you've had to postpone the Queen tour dates until next year and postponing your own solo tour. What sort of impact does that have, do you think? And I know you also took part in the One World Together at Home concert as well, raising money too. Do you think we're going to see more virtual concerts?
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that obviously people's health and safety is the most important thing right now. We all know that. But also in times of crisis, people need escape. They need catharsis. They need a reason to rally together, and music is one of the best things for that. So I do think that we're going to see a lot of alternatives to the live performance space. Everyone's sort of scrambling and finding new technology, which is incredible. And it's exciting in a way, because I think it's a new challenge, and I think it reminds fans out there that we're human too. We're affected by this thing just like everybody else, and we're trying to make the most of it and trying to do what we do as artists and provide that service to the people of entertainment.
How important do you think social media has been, Adam, with that conveying the messages and the music?
I was saying the other day, it's amazing what technology can do now. The way that we communicate with each other and connect. Imagine going through this without that tool. You can kind of get different viewpoints. You can get information. I mean, we are living in an age too where there's a lot of information flying around. So social media is a great way to sort of tap into your friend circle and see what they have to say and what they've heard. I'm glad that we're all connected.
And of course, you've released your own solo album, Velvet. What were some of the inspirations and influences behind that?
I've worked on that album for about 4 years. It was a long time coming. And there were a lot of different reasons for it. I mean, some of which were business stuff that I had to sort out. And also creatively, I was not too sure what I wanted to do at the very beginning. I was like, well, I don't know yet. And slowly through experimenting with different producers and different styles and sounds, I stumbled upon this kind of direction that I wanted to go in and got very inspired and it started gaining momentum and the album sort of came together very quickly once I figured it out. So, it's an album that harkens back to a lot of retro disco, funk, R&B, indie rock, all the music that I grew up with in the house from the 70s and the 80s that my parents had playing. It's sort of a love letter to them in many ways.
Well, you released it, obviously, Adam, in a different way than probably you would have wanted to. How do you think the COVID-19 crisis is going to impact the music industry in the long term?
I think that now that music is being consumed in this digital format and streaming is sort of the main way that people get to hear things, I almost think in some ways it may be a great time for us to be releasing music that way. You don't have to go to the record store to buy a record. You can just pick up your device and press stream. So I think that people are going to be a bit bored with a lot of these events canceled and they want entertainment. So I don't know, maybe we'll see a spike in interest. I'm not sure.
Would you hope to perform live this year? Later
yeah
on.
I would love to. I mean, that's my lifeblood. I love performing, and obviously we moved everything from this summer to next year, all the stuff that I was supposed to do with Queen. We've currently postponed my Vegas mini residency to October. We're still waiting to find out if that's going to happen or not, and if it doesn't, I say everyone needs to be safe. That's the most important thing. And I'll take the free time and I'll create more music.
You also set up, Adam, in 2019, the Feel Something Foundation to help communities from LGBTQ plus. Tell me why that was so important for you and what you hope to achieve from it.
I've been working with different charities for the past decade, and I love it. It always is such an exciting thing to be a part of, all these different initiatives. And I just decided it was time to take it to the next level and start my own. I wanted to focus on LGBTQ issues, predominantly youth homelessness, which is a big issue, mental health and suicide prevention, which is also a big issue. And then I wanted to get proactive as well and start going into the space of arts education and outreach, to do something that's not just crisis-based. I'm really excited, and we're just getting the ball rolling now. I'm going to be coupling with other organizations that are bigger and badder and have been around longer. But for the first big fundraiser we just completed, I actually auctioned off a bunch of old outfits that I've worn on stage and on the red carpet. And we partnered with eBay and we raised $46,000, which is very exciting. Yeah. I love my fans. They're very passionate. And that money is going directly to GLAAD. They're starting a COVID-19 recovery fund from their side as well. So we're helping everybody from every different angle. I'm helping the queer community through my foundation. Obviously with Queen, we're doing the World Health Organization, Global Citizen. I'm just trying to do what I can while I sit here and get that.
Sounds like you're doing a lot there, Adam. And $46,000 is fantastic. And it was auctioning off some of the outfits. Describe some of the outfits that you auctioned off.
It's just things that I've worn with Queen over the years. There's like a Dolce & Gabbana pink 3-piece suit that I wore with flowers on it. There's a Saint Laurent leopard print jacket. It was designer, Everything in there pretty much was designer. So, hopefully people feel like they got their money's worth.
Adam, of course, you talked about mental health and suicide prevention. How do you think people are coping with mental health in the crisis, under lockdown, and with what's going on?
I mean, from the people that I talk to, many of which are creatives, we're sensitive. And everyone's been affected by this, even people that don't have a prior history of any sort of mental health issue, I think have been feeling anxious and have sort of been confronted with emotions that they might not usually have to deal with. This is an exceptional time. This is a time where we're all experiencing new thoughts, new feelings, new realities. And I know for myself, I definitely have had moments of anxiety that I had to sort of cope with. I started talking to a therapist, which has been very helpful, just once a week, just to get it all out. I haven't done a lot of that in the past, but I feel like all I have is time. I might as well do that right now. And it's been really lovely. So I encourage anybody out there that is feeling a bit uneasy or unsure, either talk to a friend or family member openly. You'd be surprised about how many people probably feel the same way you do. And if you want to take it to the next level, talk to a professional. They're here to help.
What's the overall atmosphere like now in the United States? Because we've seen a lot of protests, we've seen a lot of division there on how the crisis has been handled. What's your take on that?
There are cases where I'm very proud of the leadership, government leadership in the State Department, states by states, like our governor here in California, the mayor of Los Angeles, really wonderful leadership. I do think on a federal level, it's a little bit chaotic. I kind of have to temper how much news I actually watch because I find it very frustrating. Also, I think a lot of the news and information coming out it's turned into a political thing. And really, at the end of the day, I really wish that it was more focused on the health and safety of everybody and not how this turns into a bipartisan thing. It's a very us versus them, red versus blue. And I just think this is not the time to be getting stuck there.
You say that, of course, state by state, some are more positive. You're the governor of California, you praising. But what about President Trump? What would you want him to do more?
I think it's more that I want him to do less. It seems to me that when he has a press conference and he speaks, it just makes things worse. So maybe if he would just maybe let the professionals, the medical professionals, step in. I think if he delegated a little bit more responsibly, that might be good.
And can you see the light, a glimmer of hope, Adam?
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, when this thing all sort of comes full circle and we get better and we're on the other side of it, I'd like to believe that people will have learned something about themselves, about their society. I'd like to believe that we are a little more empathetic towards one another. Just on a simple walking of the dog around the neighborhood, I'll pass somebody and everyone's checking in with each other and sort of making eye contact and saying hello. And in Los Angeles, you don't always get that. You get a lot of aloofness. So, there's a glimmer of hope there that maybe on some level, since we're all going through this same fight of this virus, maybe it'll bring us closer together.
And I just want to ask you, if you look back now when you were auditioning for American Idol, and also you played, I believe, with Queen, the members of Queen back then, and all the success you've had with them and as a solo artist, could you ever have imagined it?
I am so blessed. I really do think that I stumbled into the most incredible opportunity that just kind of was the gift that kept on giving. We've been doing this now for about 9 years. And Brian and Roger are both incredible gentlemen. They're very talented. They're very wise. They're fun. And there's nothing like getting in front of a stadium of fans of this band and having them sing along everything with us. It's the dream gig.
What advice do you think you would give to yourself back then? And indeed, what advice do you give to young, aspiring artists now?
I think one of the big things is the team that you surround yourself with, if you're going into this professionally, is vital. If you don't have the right team around you, it's probably going to be a pretty tough one. And listen to the team. Don't just have them around. Find people that will tell you the truth. That's very important. And also for anybody that is getting into this business, know that it is tough. It can be very unforgiving. It can hurt your feelings, but you have to balance it out with your passion and love for the actual art of it. The business is a necessary evil, but stay focused on the creative side of it as much as you can. And that should keep it balanced out, I think.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for talking to me. And we hope to see you perform live very soon. And best of luck and stay safe.
Thank you so much. Likewise.